Welcome to this week's episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in as little as 15 minutes to build your dream business. And now here's your host, the Visibility Whiz, Cindy J.
Hi, I'm Cindy J, the Visibility Whiz. Welcome to this episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in 15 minutes or less. Today our guest is Christian Mickelsen. He is one of the most influential coaches, healers, and business leaders in the world. His company has made the Inc. 5000 list for the fastest growing companies in America for 3 years in a row. As a leading authority in personal development and personal coaching, he's written the #1 best-selling book, Get Clients Today, along with several others, including his newest personal growth book, published by Hay House, Abundance Unleashed. Open yourself to more money, love, health, and happiness now. He's been featured in Forbes, Yahoo, Finance, and MSN. He lives in San Diego, California, with his amazing wife and 3 super fun daughters. Welcome, Christian. It's an honor to have you.
It's a privilege to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to ask you if you could describe a personal or business challenge that you had to overcome in order to achieve your level of success.
Yeah, well, to achieve a lot of anything in life, there's way more than one challenge you'll have to overcome. It's a gazillion. And my biggest challenges were really overcoming my fears, my doubts, my limiting beliefs. Feeling like, well, who am I to coach someone? Who am I to help someone? Who am I for anybody to listen to? And so there were a lot of days where I'd start growing my business. I'd do a lot of work to get things going, and then I'd pull back and hide under the covers, and it was easy to get discouraged. Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing I had to overcome was myself. I started as a coach when I was like 24 years old, and
whenever coaching was in its infancy.
Yeah, and I was in my infancy, so I was like, why would anybody listen to this, super young 24, 25-year-old? But I got clients in the early days, but I also had to overcome my mindset about money because I grew up on food stamps and special lunch programs and all that stuff, So when I started getting clients, I wasn't charging very much. So I had the biggest challenges I've ever had to overcome were all internal.
All internal, yeah. And I know you're truly from rags to riches story. So I love your story of how you was on welfare, and even the stories of how you felt back then and how you had to overcome those to achieve your level of success. Whenever coaches, entrepreneurs, anybody, they always get into business because they want wealth. They want to build abundance. And I think that a lot of people may really have the wrong idea about what abundance is. So can you share a little bit what abundance means to most people and what's your definition?
Well, I think a lot of people get into coaching because they want to help people and because they really care about people. They want to do something that makes a difference in the world versus having a job where maybe it feels like what you're doing doesn't matter, and you don't have the freedom, and maybe you don't even enjoy your job. So I think the money is part of it, but a lot of it is, the joy, the passion, the calling to do what you feel like you were born to do. Definitely that was the case for me.
Right.
When I first started coaching, I felt like I would do it for free. I loved it so much. And I actually did do it for free for some people for a while, in the first little while of getting going. But
right.
But in terms of what is abundance, well, I think abundance is really it's just having more than you need, having plenty. And, it's related to money, it's related to love, it's related to health, it's related to time abundance, having freedom and free time and being able to do the ultimate freedom, the ultimate lifestyle, I think, is being able to do exactly what you want to do, exactly as much as you want to do it, with who you want to do it, basically have complete freedom of your schedule. So for me, I can work as much or as little as I want. I tend to work usually part-time. Sometimes that ramps up, or sometimes I have a live event and I've got to, put in more hours to lead my events. But, I mostly work part-time. And so I have plenty of time abundance. I have, incredible wife, incredible kids. So I've got all this love for them and all this love that gets gushed back to me.
Beautiful little girls.
Yeah, they're so fun. And I think they're all related too.
Yes.
Like, the more time scarcity you have, generally that's going to affect your financial abundance. That'll also affect your enjoyment about life. If you have time scarcity, then it's hard to be present with the people you care about because you're constantly worrying about other things. And so they're all related. And I find that I believe that, when we change on the inside, things change on the outside. Our inner world creates the outer world. And the more you can love yourself, the more people will love you. The more you hate yourself, or the more you're upset with yourself, if you don't like yourself, then it's hard for other people to like you. Even if people do like you, it's hard for you to even feel the emotions of it, to let it in, right? Somebody could give you a compliment. And this is the funny thing, is like, we will bust our butts to achieve so much success so that we can feel worthy and have people look up to us or respect us. And then they'll finally, somebody will give us a compliment and we'll be like, oh, it makes us all uncomfortable, or it rolls off our back like water off a duck. And it's like, what the heck is all that about? Like, we've got to let that go. We've got to let that love in. And the more love you can let in, the more love you're going to be putting out as well. So to me, abundance, really, it's just having more than you need. And we live I believe we're swimming in oceans of abundance. Like, there is so much abundance of money, love, health, happiness, time. We have so much. We're swimming in it, but most people don't appreciate it. And if you're not appreciating it, it's hard to attract more of it. Right. What we appreciate appreciates.
Mm-hmm. I know with accepting compliments, eons of years ago, I had the hardest time accepting compliments until somebody had told me, number one, I always say that I want to help people, I love people, I appreciate them, but whenever you deny their compliment, you're actually denying their gift to you.
Yeah.
And so that really helped me even learn to accept compliments more and be very gracious, because whatever gift somebody else has, they're not going to give you a compliment unless they believe it. So that's their gift to you, and you need to accept it so you have more to give to others.
Yeah.
Now, also, you have a 5-step rapid success system that you mentioned in your book. Can you quickly go over what those 5 steps are?
Yeah, and this is the process I use when I work with clients, and it's I have a coach training program, and it's the coach training and certification program, and this is the foundation for that training as well. So the 5-step rapid success system is step 1, to clarify your vision and direction. What do you want to achieve? Where are you headed in life? Where are you headed in your business? Whatever avenue in your relationship, whatever avenue you might be working on to have more success on. So number 1 is clarify your vision and direction. If you don't know what you want, it's going to be really hard to get it.
Right.
Step 2 is to strategize your actions. Now that you know what you want, now that you know where you're headed, what do you want to, what do you need to do to make it happen? What are the steps? What are the things you need to do every day to achieve the results you're looking for? Number 3, the third step is to upgrade your skills. So number 1, you need to identify what skills you need in order to have the success you're looking for. And of those skills, what skills do you already possess? And then which ones maybe you need to upgrade. So, if you're a business owner, it might be leadership skills, influence skills, sales skills, marketing skills, time management skills, whatever that may be to help you achieve the results you're looking for.
Delegating. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, hiring. Hiring great people, retaining great people, building a culture. I mean, there's so much. Once you start building a team, there's a lot to it. But so number 1, finding out what skills are needed, what skills you already have, what skills maybe you need to improve. And it's not always about, improving where you're weak. Sometimes you want to look at where you're already good and get better at that. And maybe there's ways to outsource the areas where you're weak. So you want to look at that, but that's another step in the whole process, is upgrading skills. The fourth one is optimizing your environment. For me, in the earlier days of my business, I was noticing I was just, I'd be working a little bit and then I'd be like, all right, I'm going to time to turn on the TV and watch TV. And I found myself watching TV, in the afternoon and in the evening, and I was like watching too much TV. I'm like, you know what? I've got to get this out of here. It's too much of a distraction for me. For where my business is right now, maybe one day I can bring TV back, which I did over 10 years later. So I went 10 years without TV. But I got rid of TV because it was a distraction. So the more things we can do, same thing if if you wanted to lose weight, you can go on a diet, which maybe is a good idea. But it's a lot harder to stick to it or to eat healthy when you have lots of unhealthy food in your kitchen or on the counter, right? But if you get rid of it, so it's like, if you see the chocolate and it's like, you try to use discipline. It's like, look at that. I didn't eat that chocolate first thing in the morning. And then it's still staring you at your snack time at 10:30. And you're like, okay, I'm going to not eat it again. But it's like all these times that you have to use the willpower, every time all throughout the day, that's really hard on yourself. But if you just get it the heck out of there, you might have a craving, but there's nothing you can do about it, if you don't have it there. Now, maybe you can go out of the house and drive to it, but if you have appointments and you're busy and you're doing stuff, then you're just going to have to wait. And then you create friction to make it harder for you to get the stuff that's not as good for you. So the fourth thing that you want to do is optimize your environment. And there's three main environments: your physical environment, your people environment, the people you surround yourself with, and your mental idea environment. So you want to be surrounding yourself and feeding yourself great ideas that are going to help you get to the next level. You want to surround yourself with people who are not naysayers, but yay-sayers. You want to be around yay-sayers, people who are like, yes, you can do this. Yes, I believe in you. And then you want your physical environment to make things, set you up for success instead of setting you up for failure. So that's the fourth step. The fifth step is to master your psychology. So the biggest thing holding us back, I think, from our success is ourselves. Right. And our fears, our doubts, our limiting beliefs. And those are the things that you're going to need to work through in order to get the success that you want.
I know you state that feelings are not logical and that all fears are simply the fear of feeling. So can you elaborate a little bit on this as far as this in mastering your psychology? I know this is one of the biggest things we need to control is how to deal with all these fears.
Yeah, absolutely. All of our fears are fears of feeling. So that's a very different thing. Like most people think it's, I'm not afraid of my feelings. I'm afraid of, losing my job, or I'm afraid of spiders, or I don't know, whatever, right? So, but really everything we're afraid of, let's say, think about, we're often even afraid of the things we want. So we might maybe there's a part of us that wants to be really rich, but there might be another part of us that's afraid to be rich because being rich might mean, people are going to start asking you for money. Or being rich means you might be unsafe. If people knew you were rich, they were going to try to take the money away from you. Or if you're rich, then people are going to think they're going to judge you. They're going to think you're selfish, mean, and greedy, and all kinds of things, right? So it's like we have the desire to be rich, but then we also have this, being rich could be scary. Well, what are we really afraid of? We're afraid of the feelings that we would have if we were rich, and then we'd be afraid of having to have uncomfortable conversations with relatives who want your money, who think you should just give it to them for free. Or you're afraid of being judged, right? So all of these, if you're judged, how's that going to make you feel? If you have to have uncomfortable conversation with relatives, how's that going to make you feel? All of our fears aren't really fears of the situation. They're fears of how we would feel in those situations. And we're afraid of, physical feelings and emotional feelings. So, physically, our physical safety is a real concern. I'm not saying it, but if you're constantly worrying about, oh my gosh, something bad could happen, it's your emotions that you're really worried about. And all of our fears are fears of feelings. And if you can resolve those fears of feelings, then you can take massive action towards the things that you want. And not only are we oftentimes afraid of the things that we want, but then we're also afraid of the things we need to do to get the things that we want. Right? Maybe in order to grow your business, you might need to start doing a lot more public speaking. I was just at a conference with a lady who's grown her business to $5 million a year, and she's getting asked to speak in public a lot, and she just keeps turning it down because she has this fear of public speaking. But I'm like, wow, that would give you a lot more exposure, and your business a lot more exposure, would help it grow more, but she's got the fear, right? So if you whatever it is, if in order to grow your business, if you have fears of taking the action you need to take, if you have fear of having the thing that you want, then the sooner you can work through your fears, the better, because then you can start taking massive action and start manifesting more of what you want.
And I know that you have a business strategy. It's more of a personal growth strategy that people can implement in as little as 15 minutes that will even help them deal with their fears and their emotions. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, and all of this stuff I've shared with you so far is in Abundance Unleashed. And this technique that we're talking about here it's also in there. And it's I'm going to share it with you now, but if you want to go even more in depth, I would definitely recommend getting the book. The strategy is called, or the technique is called the peace process. And so if you have fears, anxiety, whatever going on about something, and I believe peace is inevitable if you are willing to work on it and be present to if you do the work, you can get to peace, especially obviously using the peace process. So how it works is, first of all, we're biologically hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Eating food, that feels good because that keeps us alive. Without any food, we would die. Hot stove, ouch, don't touch that again, right? Painful. So we avoid the pain, seek the pleasure, and it's kept our whole species alive for however long we've, existed here on Earth. But what happens is, that's great for our physical safety, but for our emotional safety, we apply the same technique. We usually try to seek pleasure and avoid pain for things that are uncomfortable emotionally. And when we do that, it causes problems. So if we have let's say you stand up and you give a speech and you feel all uncomfortable, and maybe somebody says, oh my gosh, you were horrible or something. You feel all embarrassed and you're like, oh my God, I never want to do that again. And so every time you think about giving a talk, you're like, oh, that's so uncomfortable. And so that uncomfortable feeling, we tend to stuff it down. We suppress it, we repress it. We distract ourselves with TV, internet, chocolate cake, ice cream, alcohol. If you're really sophisticated, you'll drink a nice Chardonnay or something, Or if you're really positive-minded, you maybe become a workoutaholic, or just working out all the time, or a workaholic, like, oh, I gotta just keep avoiding my feelings by working more. And so
even playing games. I mean, I've noticed with technology that I have even just used to I'll sit there and play solitaire. Yeah.
So all of that is usually because we're trying to avoid our feelings. So what we want to do is we want to do the opposite. We want to actually feel the feelings. So instead of stuffing it away, we take the lid off. We let the feeling be there. We notice where it is in our body. So let's say you have a fear of public speaking. You think about public speaking. You notice where in your body the feeling, the angst about public speaking is. Is it in your chest? Is it in your throat? Is it in your head? Is it in your stomach? Wherever the feeling might be. It could be anywhere in your body. Sort of tends to be along your chakra line, but it could be anywhere. And so you just notice where the feeling is, and instead of trying to stuff it away or distract yourself from it, what you want to do is you want to just let the feeling be there. Let it live, let it breathe, let it grow, let it expand, let it contract, let it do whatever it wants to do, and you just witness it. And you just put your attention on the most intense part. So if it's in your chest, you want to look for, well, where is the most intense part? Is it over on the side? You just put your attention on that. And it's kind of like oil in an oil candle. And your presence is the flame. So just being present to it and letting the feeling be there, your presence is the flame, and it's going to burn out all the energy of that feeling. And not only does it resolve it in the moment, but it resolves it forever. So if you have a fear of public speaking and you use this technique and you get to peace, you're pretty much going to be peaceful doing public speaking forever. Now, there could be a certain situation where if you have some people you really look up to and respect in the audience, that might push some buttons. Or if you went from having, giving talks to 20 people, then now all of a sudden you're giving talks to 5,000 people, maybe you could feel some anxiousness as the scale increases, but you can use the peace process then as well and get to peace. But usually if you get to peace about something, it's resolved. So public speaking is an issue, you work through it, now you go public speak, boom, 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 no problem, and you rock it.
And so you just witness the feeling. You don't really need to verbalize it. Just witnessing it
You don't need
will
to
do the same
verbalize
thing.
it. You don't need to analyze it. You need to talk about it. You don't need to know where it came from. You don't need to know if it was from something that happened when you were in second grade. It doesn't need to know if it's from a past life, from your something you inherited from your wherever the heck this stuff came from. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is you stay present to it and you resolve it. And it can be, this is one of the most powerful healing techniques on earth, and it's one of the most simplest, and I highly encourage everybody to do it. And once you do it a few times, here's the thing though. Here's the thing. We don't know how long it's going to take to resolve. So, if somebody's like, I'm going to try this, and they give it a try, and it's like, I did it for 5 minutes, it didn't work, and here's the thing. However intense it is, so the feelings could be really intense, or they could be, kind of subtle. The subtle ones sometimes are the hardest ones because we don't really even realize they're there. But once we become aware of it, we can resolve it. And how intense it is or how intense it isn't doesn't determine how long it's going to take to resolve. So if it's something really intense, it could resolve in a matter of seconds or a matter of minutes, or it could be subtle and it could take an hour, or it could take longer. Most things get resolved in a matter of that you can measure that you would measure normally in minutes. Right. So usually not an hour, but maybe a little over an hour. But sometimes, oftentimes it's like 15, like I'd say over half the time it's going to be 15 minutes or less. You're going to be able to get through it. But sometimes it takes longer. And I've had some things where I've had to just keep doing it over and over for 20 minutes or an hour at a time over the course of several weeks. I've had a few that have taken several months to get resolved, but most things, 90% of the things that you're going to work on are going to resolve in some amount of minutes. So, an hour and a half or less, most things are going to get resolved in an hour and a half or less. But once you do it a couple times and you get the hang of it, you'll probably be doing it. I would hope you'll be doing it for the rest of your life, to just keep resolving any little thing that comes up, anything that disturbs the peace for yourself. That you could do it. And then what happens is once you resolve the thing, then you can get into massive action to get the results you want. So if you want to grow your business, you need to be public speaking and you feel all anxious. It's like you can use courage to get yourself, to muster up the strength to go do it. You can feel the fear and do it anyway. But that takes a lot of energy. And if you needed to, let's say you need to do cold calling to grow your business, right? It's like the phone weighs like 1,000 pounds when you feel all this angst. It's like, hello. Right? But if you work through it, then it's like, you just call people up, just start calling, no big deal. And your progress in whatever you want to achieve just goes, so much faster. And your results are going to be so much better too, because not only are you going to be more likely to take the action, but can you imagine how good is your public speaking going to be if you're like all tied up in knots and anxious about it, and your mouth is dry and you're all sweaty and you're like, hi, right? Versus if you're relaxed and present, you're going to be, you're going to do a much better job. You're going to make a much bigger impact. So when you're peaceful, when you're present, when you're in the zone, you're going to be able to get much better results with everything that you do. And that's why it's really important to do the peace process and get to peace, so that you can take massive action consistently to get the results that you're looking for.
I love it. And I have been practicing that for years, but I've always thought you had to verbalize it with it. So that's what really hit me. The difference, the way that I was taught it, was to verbalize as you're going through it, because I know it has helped me through tons of stuff in my life. And I know that you have a great gift that you're going to offer our listeners. Can you share a little bit about it? Yeah,
it's called my book. I'm going to buy a copy of this hardcover book, published by Hay House. I'm buying them from Hay House. And if your listeners want to get one of these free books, they can just help me out with the shipping, and we'll ship them pretty much anywhere in the world. And you can go to myabundancebook.com and you can get yourself signed up and order the book. You can also get it from Amazon. Amazon sells it, anywhere from $12 to $15. The retail price is $20. And I'm buying them, and I'll ship them out to anyone who wants one. If you want to just cover the shipping, And that's the scoop. myabundancebook.com.
I highly recommend the book. The link's also going to be on bizsuccessin15.com, and any links that we mentioned today will also be there because Christian spoke about some of his other programs, and you can find them all on bizsuccessin15.com. And Christian, do you have any parting words for our listeners?
Yeah, I believe success is inevitable. So whatever goals you want to achieve, if you want to become a millionaire, you want to have a multi-million-dollar business, whatever goals you have, they are inevitable if you're willing to do the work. If you're willing to do the work in the world, if you're willing to work on yourself, and if you stick with it, success is inevitable. Failure is also inevitable because failures are the pathway. Failures are the bricks that pave the way to success. It's inevitable. It's impossible not to succeed. It's impossible not to fail on your way to success. And if you want to be a millionaire, you need to mistake your way to millions. So you've got to be willing to fall down, fall flat on your face, pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, go after it again, fall down again, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and go after it again. But success is inevitable. Whatever it is that you want, it wants you, and you can have it, whatever it is. So stay with it, stay the course, and remember you are infinitely powerful.
I love it. Thank you very much. And thank you for being our guest today, Christian. To our listeners, be sure to visit bizsuccessin15.com. You can re-listen to today's episode and listen to some of our past experts. Be sure to download or get a copy of Christian's book. All you do is pay shipping. It's great. It's one of the best books I have read in a long time. And he has so many processes in there for you to succeed in business as well as in life. And with that, big hugs, and be sure to tune in next week.
You've been listening to Biz Success in 15. For all links mentioned in today's show and to watch or listen to previous episodes, visit bizsuccessin15.com. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for another amazing guest.